Good evening, folks. The microphones are on, the cameras are rolling. I welcome all of you to tonight's City Council meeting and Committee of the Whole meeting. For the City Council meeting, I proudly call the meeting to order, and I ask our distinguished clerk to please take the roll call.
Bowering?
Here.
Bruno?
Here.
Ruby?
Here.
Kilberg?
Here.
Kosarog?
Here.
Maladra?
Here.
Marks?
Here.
Mayor?
Here.
Paschke?
Here.
Swanson?
Here.
We have a full house tonight, folks. It's also my pleasure to invite a distinguished gentleman new to his position to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. His name is Dr. Andy Barrett, Superintendent of Community Unit School District 304.
Thank you, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Barrett. Week 2 is well underway, right? Okay, that's enough out of you. Don't speak until you're spoken to. Folks, item 3A is to consider approval of Festival of the Vine special event liquor licenses for Geneva Chamber of Commerce, Penrose Brewing Company, the Little Traveler, Up North Wine Tasting Room, and the Royal Wren. Festival of the Vine is, of course, September 8th through the 10th, 2023. Is there a motion?
So, second.
Motion by Swanson, seconded by Bruno. Ms. Dawkins?
Okay, so applications for special event liquor licenses have been received and reviewed for the establishments that were stated on the agenda for the Festival of the Vine, September 8th through 10th, 2023. Upon approval, all licenses will be issued after they've had a successful site inspection on September 8th.
Any questions for the city administrator from the dais? If not, a roll call would be recommended. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, please take a roll.
All right, Swanson?
Aye.
Bowering?
Aye.
Bruno?
Aye.
Ruby?
Aye.
Kilberg?
Aye.
Kosarog?
Aye.
Maladra?
Aye.
Marks?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Paschke?
Aye.
With 10 votes in the affirmative, 0 votes in the negative, and 0 absent, item 3A has been approved by this city council. Item 4, there is none. Item 5, the omnibus agenda. All items marked with an asterisk are considered to be routine and can be acted upon with one motion. Is there such a motion? Alderperson Bowering makes the motion. Alderperson Kosarog makes the second. Any questions or comments regarding those items? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Bowering?
Aye.
Bruno?
Aye.
Ruby? Kilberg?
Aye.
Kosarog? Maladra?
Aye.
Marks?
Aye.
Mayor? Paschke?
Aye.
Swanson?
Aye.
With 10 votes in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 absent, the omnibus agenda has been approved by this council. We jump to item number 10, municipal bills for payment. We kindly ask our city clerk to please read the bills in their aggregate for our consideration.
All right. Municipal bills for payment total $1,863,004.43.
Mayor, I move that we approve and pay the bills as read. The individual items that add up to that amount can be found in tonight's city council packet on the city website.
Alderperson Bruno makes the motion to pay the bills as presented, which are also available in each of our city council packets and on the city's website. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderperson Paschke. Questions or comments? We saw a few in the Q&A earlier today. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
All right. Bruno?
Aye.
Ruby?
Aye.
Kilberg?
Aye.
Kosarog?
Aye.
Maladra?
Aye.
Marks?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Paschke?
Aye.
Swanson?
Aye.
Bowering?
Aye.
The bills presented have been paid with a vote of 10 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 absent. We jump to item 12, folks, presentation of ordinances and resolutions. Item 12A is to consider resolution number 2023-82, authorizing execution of a public utility agreement with the Fox Valley Commerce Center, Phase 2, LLC. Is there a motion?
So moved.
That was close. We give Mayor the motion, we give Bowering the second, and we give the floor to the city administrator.
Okay, so during the land acquisition process for the North Couts reconstruction project, staff discovered a gap in the public utility easements along Geneva Drive at Couts Road. Staff, the property owners, and the city attorney have developed the attached PUE agreement to resolve this issue and ensure that the continued protection of Geneva utilities through this intersection. With us this evening, we have Director Babica, if you have any additional questions.
Any questions for Director Babica or City Administrator Dawkins? If not, we'll take a roll. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor, Aye. Paschke,
Aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Bowering,
Aye.
Bruno,
Aye.
Ruby,
Aye.
Kilberg,
Aye.
Kasserag,
Aye.
Maladra,
Aye.
Marks.
Aye.
With a vote of 10 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 absent, item 12A has been approved by this council. Item 12B is to consider resolution number 2023-83, declaring electric cable and a New Holland skid steer as surplus property in the city of Geneva. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderperson Marks. Second. And seconded by Alderperson Bowering. Ms. Dawkins.
Okay, so for your consideration tonight is a list of material and equipment to surplus, including electric cable that is no longer usable and a 2002 New Holland skid steer, as we've replaced that with a newer model. We would have Superintendent Holton with us this evening, but he's a little busy, so if you have questions, Director Babica is here for your asking pleasure.
Questions for the good director or city administrator? If not, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Marks,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
Paschke,
Aye.
Swanson,
Aye.
Bowering,
Aye.
Bruno,
Aye.
Ruby,
Aye.
Kilberg,
Aye.
Kasserag,
Aye.
Maladra.
Aye.
Item 12B has been approved with 10 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, and 0 absent. Item 12C is to consider ordinance number 2023-15, amending Title III, Boards and Commissions, Chapter 10, Cultural Arts Commission of the City Code. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderperson Bowering, seconded by Alderperson Kosarog. Ms. Dawkins.
Okay. So on August 7th, 2023, a special committee of the whole meeting was held to discuss the limits on the City of Geneva's authority as a non-home rule municipality to foster cultural arts in the City of Geneva in general, and as stated in Title III, Boards and Commissions, Chapter 10, Cultural Arts Commission of the Geneva City Code. During the meeting, information was presented regarding the history of the Cultural Arts Commission, the policy rationale for the CAC, the work of the CAC, including limits on authority of the city as a non-home rule municipality. Given the limits of authority to generally foster cultural arts in the community, it is in the best interest of the city to repeal ordinance number 2006-33 and delete Title III, Chapter 10 from the Geneva City Code. A policy discussion will be held in the future to explore what role the City of Geneva should play in fostering cultural arts in the community, given those limits of authority as a non-home rule municipality. And certainly, if there are any additional questions, I'm available, Director Timoshenko or City Attorney Sandek.
We have a motion by Bowering, and a second by Kosarog. The matter is on the floor. Are there any questions or from anyone at the dais? Alderperson Kosarog.
Not really a question. I just wanted to state that I hope that we really get on replacing this with something in the not-too-distant future. I don't have any specific time in mind, but I would hate to see this stretch out for a matter of years or something like that. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, Madam Clerk, please take a roll, or the roll, excuse me.
Bowering,
Sorry, point of order. I believe that Alderperson Kilberg would like to ask a question.
Oh, thank you very much. I didn't see the hand raised. I apologize to
No,
Alderperson.
I want to thank all those people that have contributed to the Cultural Arts Commission over the years. This commission dates back to 2006, and the service of those community members that were volunteers over 17 years, I think, was commendable. And again, as was explained, I think the legal ramifications related to the ordinance, the complexities, and the fact that we're not a home rule community contributed to the decision of the council. And again, this is no reflection on the service and the contribution that the commission has made to the community over several years. And we, as Alderperson Kosarog commented, I hope that we can find a path forward with with our foundation or in some other avenue to continue to foster the arts in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well said.
Yeah. Someone else have their? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Bowering,
Aye.
Bruno,
Aye.
Ruby,
Aye.
Kilberg,
Aye.
Kasserag,
Aye.
Maladra,
Aye.
Marks.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
Peschke,
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
With a motion of 10 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 absent, item 12C has been approved by this council. Item 12D, consider resolution number 2023-84, supporting the 12-year extension of the East State Street Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project and Plan. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderperson Patchke, seconded by Alderperson Mayor. Ms. Dawkins.
Okay, and I'm actually going to turn it over to Director Timoshenko to give a little history and a little background on this item.
Okay.
Thank you. So TIF 2, it expires this year, 2023. So since 2003, the city's been working with the State of Illinois Department of Transportation toward roadway utility and streetscape enhancements along East State Street from the Fox River to Kirk Road. I think everybody's pretty familiar with that project. Approximately 40% of the linear roadway is within TIF 2. So annually, we budget funds to cover the project costs within the TIF area, and we take into account the grant funding that has been secured over the years. So IDOT has delayed the start of the project a few times, and each year the city reconsiders the timeline and works through the budget process. We're now presently in the midst of land acquisition, and this is one of the last stages prior to bid letting and construction. And IDOT has confirmed a letting date at the end of 2024, with construction beginning in the spring of 2025, and continuing construction for 24 months. This schedule brings the project timeline past the life of TIF 2 and past the spending range of the TIF 2 funds. So under Illinois law, a TIF district may last for the maximum of 23 years, and the period can be extended by 12 years to get to 35 years upon approval by the Illinois General Assembly. In some cases, the General Assembly has extended TIFs twice for a total of 47 years. Municipalities who are seeking extensions must receive approval from the General Assembly, which requires letters of support from overlapping units of local government whose boundaries fall within the TIF boundary. We have approached Illinois State Senator DeWitt and obtained support for TIF extension legislation during the fall veto session if letters of support from taxing districts are received. We have approached representatives of the applicable taxing districts and advised them that this matter would be before the City Council tonight. We have answered some questions, and we've advised them that we'll follow up with them tomorrow. Without the TIF extension, the East State Street project is severely at risk. We estimate the cost of the projects to TIF 2 to be roughly $3.6 million if we're able to maintain existing grant funds, to $5.17 million if all grant funding is lost. The total project cost is approximately $19.7 million, and the costs have gone up over 20% just in the last few years. So it is estimated that the increment for the extended period will be approximately $2.9 million. So that, coupled with the funds that are in the special allocation fund at present, will help us bring the project to fruition. So TIF 2 has had several successful public-private partnerships, including CVS Pharmacy, Valley Animal Hospital, the Munchie Peas Commercial Building, the Dairy Queen, Aldi's, Country Village Meats, 501 East State Street retrofit, Rigonato's, and Isaac's Upholstery. So to complete the reconstruction of East State Street, we believe it'll greatly enhance the east corridor of the city, which in turn will benefit all of the property owners within the city and the other taxing districts that we share the jurisdiction with. So before you tonight is a resolution, and we're asking City Council to support the extension of the TIF and to allow us to move forward with trying to work with the taxing districts to obtain their support.
Ms. Dawkins, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Not at this time.
Okay. Questions from the dais for either Director Timoshenko or City Administrator Dawkins? Alderperson Swanson?
Thank you, Mayor. You mentioned that the State Street project is going to extend beyond the timeline that the TIF can pay out money. What is that timeline? It expires in 2023, but my understanding is a TIF can stay open for years after it ends in order to pay out projects that were started earlier.
The limit of the payouts is to the end of 2024, so December 31st, 2024.
So there's a one-year timeline to complete everything.
Well, and I would clarify that because while this project is underway, it hasn't been let for construction, so we don't actually have anything to encumber these funds for. So had the project been let this year, we would be having a different conversation. But since the project is not anticipated to be let, and again, IDOT has set that date, but we know that that may not always be the exact date. They say it is, but we'll see. But had the bid letting set to occur this November, then we would have known what the amount was, what it would cost, and we could encumber those funds. But because now that letting is not going to occur until outside of the TIF time period, we can't use these funds for that.
So the project being started, that's irrelevant.
That's irrelevant because,
Bid letting is the.
right, because
important
that's
piece.
what we're using. While we're using some of the funds for right-of-way acquisition, a majority of the funds are used for construction.
Okay. Okay, I understand that. And then my other question would be, a couple years ago, when we were looking at Country Village Meats, we talked about TIF 2, and I thought the conversation was that we thought at that time there was money available in TIF 2 to complete the East State Street project and do Country Village Meats, and it sounds like that is not the case any longer. And is that just because of the increase in costs for East State Street?
Yes, and we have budgeted every year to include East State Street costs that have been projected based on the estimates and the percentage share that the local jurisdiction has to contribute along with the grants. And we have set aside money in the budget to use for public-private partnerships. And we've stayed within those parameters. So we've had the funds, we've projected the funds forward for the project always at the beginning of our budgeting. We always start with, okay, what do we need for East State Street? And then work backwards to understand what else we can do within the fund. So at that time, which that project was 2020, and at that time, we were confident that we could move forward with that.
So 2.5 years later, a lot has changed, is really what you're saying.
Yes, and some of it is the costs have gone up for construction, and also some of the funding has changed.
Okay. I guess my fear is that this is becoming a perpetual TIF, and it seems like it just never ends, and we've been there for 23 years, now we're looking at 35 years, we're getting, that's 2 generations of Genevans that are living through this TIF, so I would think that we could end this TIF as soon as possible once the East State Street construction is completed and move on. It's been a successful TIF, there have been a lot of successful developments, and I'd like to see an end to it and bring those taxing bodies back to the taxing bodies. So that's what I would like to see going forward. Thank you.
Alderperson Mayor?
Somewhat of a differing opinion on this. So if there is a project that can show that they will create increment, we could still, if we extend this TIF, still include them in the TIF funding, correct? Or provide some funding.
Potentially, yes.
So, I mean, from my perspective, having grown up on the east side and seeing the corridor that we're talking about, I don't feel like we're done. I don't feel like this blight is all fixed and everything's peachy. I think that we still have a considerable amount of work to do to make sure that these businesses along East State Street have a way to, I mean, I think it's wonderful that Isaac's is putting in their sidewalk and their parking lot. I drove by and I was just like, this is great. Like, a business that's been open since 1970 finally gets a decent parking lot. This is a great thing. So I'm in favor of extending this. I think that 35 years is just fine by me until it gets done. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else on the dais regarding item 12D? Alderperson Bowery.
I guess, so I think it makes sense to extend the TIF certainly to complete the East State Street roadway improvements. Along with Alderperson Mayor, I see a real value in TIF in general as long as it's managed responsibly, which I think the city has a very good track record of. And I think, like Alderperson Mayor, I also feel like there's more that can be done over there, so I have no issue with extending the TIF or requesting that the legislature extend the TIF. I think it's a win-win-win for businesses, for the community, for the city, and so I'd like to see that work go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderperson Kilburg.
I would, as Alderperson Mayor has pointed out, over the last 35 years, I've witnessed the impact of this TIF, and I think if you're to grade or judge the TIF, this has been a successful undertaking on the part of the city. I certainly hope that, and not only these businesses, but the services that they provide for the east side of our community. I think CVS and Aldi's have been great contributors to the quality of life for residents living on the east side of our community. And those businesses are successful businesses, as you witnessed with CVS. The CVS that they'd opened a few years ago in St. Charles closed. They kept the CVS open on East Side Drive and State. Aldi's, very seldom do you go by there when the parking lot is not filled. And again, they're generating an asset for the community, I think, that is an example of what a TIF can do in revitalizing a neighborhood. And I certainly hope that the other taxing bodies see it the same way. I know that sometimes there's resistance as it relates to TIFs, but I see this as a real asset and extending it. And the urgency of getting the State Street project completed, I think, is imperative. That roadway, if you travel it, is in poor condition. And I'd hate to see anything that would jeopardize the completion of that project over the next 2 or 3 years. So for those reasons, I'll support this TIF. And I hope that the council, as well as the other taxing bodies, see it the same way.
Anyone else on the dais? Madam Clerk, if you're ready, we have a motion by Patchke, a second by Mayor on item 12D. Roll call vote at your pleasure.
Paschke?
Aye.
Swanson?
Aye.
Bowering?
Aye.
Bruno?
Aye.
Ruby?
Aye.
Kilburg?
Aye.
Kasserag?
Aye.
Maladra?
Aye.
Marks?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Item 12D has been approved by this council with a vote of 10 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 absent. We're at item 13, folks, public comment. Just a brief reminder, when recognized by the chair, me, please proceed to the podium, state your name for the record, and provide your public comments. Please understand that this is your time to be heard and the public body's time to listen. No discussion or debate will ensue. Is there anyone here tonight for new business? Oh, excuse me, for public comment, forgive me. Forgive me. Yes, sir. Mr. Rule, good evening.
Miss me? I have a few subjects this evening. First of all, I want to settle a little bit of a debate. You guys keep advising me that I need to go to my insurance carrier because your tree fell on my house, and for some reason you think my insurance carrier is liable for that. I have my reasons for not doing that. One basically is a $1,000 deductible, which I feel like there's no reason that should come out of my pocket. So for the sake of argument, from this point forward, consider me self-insured, okay? No more debate on whether or not I'm going to go to my insurance carrier. Next subject. December 16th, I sent a letter, an email to the city, and a letter asking how many trees went down during the supposed windstorm on November 5th, 23. The answer I got back was the city's department, this is a quote, the city department received multiple reports of trees down. Multiple reports of trees down. In my conversation with Ms. Freeman last month, she made the comment, quote, there were trees down all over town. There were trees down all over town. I filed a request last month for city records on how many trees actually went down in the city. Besides the one that fell on my house, two. One on Country Club Place and on Batavia Avenue. Batavia Avenue, there's two reports. It's a little confusing. Some say it was two trees. I think it was two reports of the same tree. It doesn't really matter. There weren't trees down all over town. Okay, so let's get the record straight. The tree on Country Club Place, as the crow flies, was 1.8 miles from my house. Batavia Avenue was 2.8 miles from my house. That's not really relevant, but what's relevant is trees weren't down all over town. Next subject. On August 7th, I mailed a request to Mr. McGreedy to have a sit-down meeting with members of the city and from Sedgwick to try to resolve this issue. I asked specifically for an in-person sit-down meeting. What I got back was, well, we'll do a video or a phone conference call. I rejected that. From day one, this goes back to November, I have asked for a sit-down meeting. I couldn't be any more clear. Today, I received an email from Mr. McGreedy again. Apparently, there was some kind of an IT mix-up that he was responding to my rejection letter, again saying they would do a conference call or a video call. I immediately responded to that email saying, no, that's not what I asked for. I asked for a sit-down meeting. I can't be any more clear than that. I don't know why that's so difficult for everybody. The response was that the individual from Sedgwick doesn't live locally. You guys are paying them a lot of money. At least they could make a house call. You think? We keep dancing around this, whether we're going to do this or not. And the whole issue is the city and Sedgwick, they're not acting in good faith. They're not acting in good faith. We can resolve this. All we have to do is answer my request. I don't know what you all are afraid of. I really don't. But we can't sit down and resolve this. I would think that you, Sedgwick, and myself would want to put this to bed as much as anybody. I think you're tired of seeing me up here. I'm tired of coming here. But I'm not going away. And like I said, all we have to do is respond to my request. Not that hard. Thank you.
Anyone else joining us this evening? Share public comment. Dr. Barrett, do you want to introduce yourself to the council as the new superintendent in Geneva? Love to. I was just kidding. Come on up, man.
Hi, everybody. I'm Andy. Nice to meet you. I know some friends here. Nice to see you in person. I'm excited to start this new position here. I've been on a few months, and I really am feeling really positive about the start of the year and building bridges with the community and the relationship. I think we have a lot of potential to work together. We had our kickoff last week. Mayor Burns made a cameo, of course, and did a fine job. Have had an opportunity to meet with the city administrator, Stephanie Dawkins, a few times, and have appreciated that. So I just hope we have the opportunity to continue working together. I know we won't always agree. I know we won't always have the same perspective on things, but I do really think that there's a huge opportunity for the city and the school district to be working together because we're serving the same constituents and our awesome town and the wonderful citizens of Geneva. So I think that's all I got. Thanks. Thanks so much for having me.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. If there's a ticket in your car, we apologize. Anyone else? Public comment? If not, I'll entertain a new business from the dais. Alderperson Patchke.
I just wanted to bring to people's attention that today, August 21st, is National Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day, and August 31st is National Overdose Awareness Day. I think these are important milestones to mark and acknowledge due to increased deaths from fentanyl, increased overdoses. Geneva is not immune to this problem. St. Charles recently got a naloxone vending machine, which is something that the Kane County Health Department is encouraging around the county. They have the naloxone to give out. They have the vending machines, or they can access them to give us. I would encourage the city to consider a place that we could put a naloxone vending machine. Naloxone, if you aren't familiar, is I think the one that they give out is a nasal administered drug that reverses an overdose. So if a person is suspected to be overdosing, you administer it as a spray in the nasal cavity, and it can reverse that overdose. Sometimes you have to do a couple administrations, but it has no effect on somebody that's not overdosing, so there's no risk to having it out there. The vending machines allow it to be accessed for free, so anybody can have it. I would encourage everybody to get trained in administering naloxone. This is a problem that is lacking full clarity on solutions right now, so I think it behooves us all to do what we can to be a part of the solution. Part of the solution. In addition to that, I would like to point out that the health department itself will be doing a drive-through distribution of naloxone, so if you want to pick some up to have on hand for yourself, I always have a couple in my car, just in case. On August 31st, which is Overdose Awareness Day, they'll have a drive-through event at their Highland Avenue location in Aurora from 12 to 2 and 5 to 7. So I encourage everyone to look into that.
Thank you. Anyone else from the dais? If not, a motion to adjourn is in order. Alderperson Kosarug makes the motion to adjourn. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. We're adjourned, folks. We'll take just a moment to transition to the Committee of the Whole meeting. Microphones are off.
Call into order the Committee of the Whole meeting for Monday, August 21st, 2023. Welcome. I'm Brett Kosarug, one of the two aldermen in the esteemed second ward, along with Alderman Marks. I can just say everybody's here, right? If the record could show that everybody is present in person. And the second item on the agenda is recommend suspending the rules to permit myself, Alderperson Kosarug, to chair this meeting and to vote on all action items on this agenda.
So moved.
From Alderman Bruno. Second from Alderman Mayor. Everybody in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next, we have approving the Special Committee of the Whole minutes from July 24th, 2023, the Special Committee of the Whole minutes from August 7th, 2023, and the Regular Committee of the Whole minutes from August 7th, 2023. Alderperson Paschke makes the motion. Second from Alderman Bowman? Bowring, sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I guess I didn't ask for any comment, but that's okay, right? All right. Any opposed? All right. Our first item of business, 4A, is to consider draft resolution authorizing acceptance of the 2023-2024 Employee Benefit Program Plan Renewal. Do I have a motion? Alderman Marks makes the motion. Alderman Paschke makes the second. Any questions for Assistant Administrator?
You want an intro or?
Oh, intro from City Administrator Dawkins.
All right, so the employee health, dental, vision, and life insurance coverages renew on November 1st, 2023. The initial medical insurance renewal for the 23-24 plan year sent to the city's insurance broker, Assured Partners, represented an increase of 8.1%. Through their efforts, along with minimal plan design changes to the PPO health plan, the overall increase has been reduced to 4.77%. For comparison, the average renewal percentage increase for health insurance for the past 5 years, including this renewal, is 4.45%. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois dental plan is recommended for approval without any changes, and the self-funded Delta dental plan is recommended for renewal with a decrease in premium funding levels and a 3.06% increase in the monthly administrative fee. We are in the second year of a 2-year rate guarantee with the Standard Insurance Company for life, accidental death, and dismemberment coverage. Lastly, the VSP Voluntary Vision Program's 4-year rate guarantee expires this year, and the renewal is quoted at a 6.08% increase for another 4-year rate guarantee. Employees who participate in the discount vision program fund the full cost of the plan with no city contribution. With us this evening is Boomer Whipple from Assured Partners, and he can answer any additional questions, as can Assistant City Administrator McCready.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? None? Ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next, we have consider draft resolution authorizing a contract with DPS Equipment Services, Inc. in a total amount not to exceed $164,450, inclusive of a potential change orders for wastewater treatment plant primary clarifier skimmers. Do I have a motion? Paschke and Bowring. Ms. Dawkins?
So the budget contains funds allocated for the replacement of the 20-year-old grease and scum skimmer system within the 4 primary clarifiers at the wastewater treatment plant. The bid was advertised and opened with 3 contractors submitting bids. DPS Equipment Services, Inc. submitted the lowest bid, and they performed the replacement of the flight assemblies in fiscal year '22, and staff has been satisfied with the results. A 10% contingency is recommended to be included in the overall not-to-exceed amount. With us this evening is Superintendent McGuscum, and we also have wastewater treatment plant Supervisor Dan Dobnik as well, if you have any additional questions.
Okay. Any questions about primary clarifier skimmers? Or scum? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next, we have consider draft resolution authorizing execution of a contract with Martum Construction for a total not to exceed $1,490,482.65, inclusive of potential change orders for Illinois Route 25 and North Bennett Avenue water main replacement.
Second.
Bowring and Bruno.
Okay, so the budget has funds allocated towards the replacement of the water main on North Bennett from State Street to Jefferson Street. The replacement is needed due to the age and condition of the water main. We've been working with the Illinois Department of Transportation for the past 18 months to obtain a permit, which will include a detour during construction. 4 bids were received, and the low bid was submitted by Martum Construction. The low bid, however, is over the budgeted amount and over the final engineer's estimate. Major factors include the increased costs that can be attributed to higher prices for traffic control, rock excavation, and market conditions. The project, however, is still recommended to proceed to reduce liability risks related to water main breaks and to prepare for the East State Street reconstruction project. Any necessary budget amendments will be prepared for a future meeting. A 10% contingency is recommended to be included in the overall not-to-exceed amount to account for any unforeseen field changes that may occur. And as I mentioned, we have Superintendent Van Gescam with us this evening, if you have any questions.
Do we have any questions for Superintendent Van Gescam? Quiet group tonight. All right, if we're ready to vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it's unanimous. We are at letter E? D. I thought I might be missing one. Consider draft resolution authorizing execution of a contract with CDM Smith in an amount not to exceed $1,899,719 for a Phase 2 improvement at the wastewater treatment plant. Do I have a motion? Bowering? And Paschke.
Okay, so the budget has funds allocated towards the design engineering services for Phase 2 improvements at the wastewater treatment plant to remain in compliance with the Illinois EPA, provide emergency generation, replace aging equipment and structures, and to construct an administration building. In compliance with the city code, staff performed an extensive process to select a consultant and negotiate a contract for this multifaceted project. A memorandum was included in the packet with additional information. And CDM Smith has previously performed design, bidding, and construction observation for the biological phosphorus removal improvements at the plant, and staff is confident in their abilities to complete this project. The city attorney has reviewed and approved the proposed contract. With us this evening, we do have Amru Atasi with CDM Smith. Again, we have our wastewater treatment plant supervisor, Dan Dobnik, and Superintendent Bob Van Gescam, if you have any additional questions.
Do we have any questions? Alderman Mayor.
So I took a tour of the wastewater treatment plant with these guys a couple of years ago, and it's a fascinating place.
I've been there. It
It
is.
really is, and I think that it's so vital to our health as a city and community. And the one thing that gives me pause about this proposal, and I support it, I want to be clear, I support redesigning and giving these guys proper facilities, but the administrative building that was there and the pond was, they explained to me it was built by a female contractor, I think in the 20s or before that, 1923. So from my perspective as a woman contractor in this country and knowing that that's one of the pioneers of that field, of women in construction, I just want to give it a little credit that this was it's not a building that has been part of the community because it's largely behind fences and nobody goes there, but it's something significant in our midst. So I think the facilities there are definitely needing to be modernized, and these guys deserve a good place to work for the next 50 years, but I wanted to give it a little shout out that it's an important place in the community.
Thank you for sharing with us. I think that's great.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes, sir.
to echo the statement made by Alderperson Mayor, Mr. Dobnik made a presentation to this council several years ago regarding this very facility. And it is, I think, arguably one of the better presentations regarding the history of that facility. That presentation is still online. It was the daughter of the gentleman who started the project. Dad passed away, and the daughter took over. If you have a chance, hop online and check it out. It is fascinating. You deserve credit for putting that together. and sharing it with us. So, thank you.
Alderman Paschke.
Can I just ask someone to remind me the name of that woman? Everyone's
Juanita Martin.
Thank you.
That's the guy to go to, right there, man. I know.
Maybe if I could ask you to share that presentation, I know we can probably find it online, but with council, I think those of us that didn't hear it, which includes me, would like to check it out. All right, thank you very much. All right, any other comments or questions? Okay, I think we're ready to vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it is unanimous. And now we are on E, consider draft resolution authorizing execution of renewal of the transportation and balancing agreement with NICOR for the Geneva Generation Facility. Do I have a motion? Marks
Second?
and Bruno with the second.
Okay, so NICOR provides the gas delivery and balancing services for the Geneva Generation Facility. This includes storage and transmission of natural gas for use in the generation of electricity. The current agreement was adopted in 2018 and had a term of 5 years. The renewal of the agreement includes an increase in the fixed monthly cost of about 2.4% increase per year for a total 12% over the current agreement. Several operational changes were proposed by NICOR and accepted by Geneva. No other changes to the fees or charges were proposed. The new agreement will be for a period of 5 years, starting October 1st, 2023. The Illinois Municipal Code provides that a municipality may enter into a long-term energy contract, even if the length of the contract would exceed the term of office of the corporate authorities of that approved contract. And again, we have with us Director Babica, who can answer any questions you might have in the absence of Superintendent Holton.
Do we have any questions? NICOR and GGF? Nothing. All right, I think then we're ready to vote. Everybody indicate their approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it is unanimous again. Next is letter F, consider draft resolution authorizing execution of a customer work agreement with ComEd in the amount of $323,829.47 for the construction of metering and takeoff structures for the Cotts Road substation.
So moved.
Bruno with the motion. Marks with the second.
Okay, so ComEd has provided engineering and an estimate for their cost to construct the takeoff pole, wire, and metering to feed the Cotts Road substation. In 2015, the City of Geneva deposited $60,000 with ComEd for the project to begin engineering. This existing deposit will be used along with the current charges to cover the cost of construction. There's no opportunity for the City of Geneva to bid construction as ComEd performs construction activities on their system. The City of Geneva will complete construction of a 34 kV line to feed the new substation at a later date. And again, we have with us Director Babica.
Any questions for Director Babica? All right. I think we're ready to vote. Everybody indicate their approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have another unanimous. Letter G, consider draft resolution authorizing execution of alternate services for solid waste and recycling contract with LRS Services.
So, second.
Bowering and Bruno.
Okay, so the current refuse and recycling contract with LRS included 2 alternate options to provide services beyond the base contract. One alternate service was to provide Sunday solid waste and recycling collection within the Central Business District on an annual basis. The City Council discussed the possibility of the Sunday collection, but requested a quote for monthly in lieu of an annual basis. LRS has provided a quote for the Sunday collection at $46.21 per month. And then there was a second alternate service to provide dry cell battery recycling for the community at the Public Works facility. In the previous contract, this service was provided at no fee, but a fee is now included in the new contract. This fee is calculated based on previous experiences of filling 2 35-gallon carts on a weekly basis of expired batteries. The collection period for both alternate services would be for the months of September, October, November, and December 2023, with renewal authorization requested on an annual basis. I would also note the way we drafted the resolution, if for some reason the council decided to go with one alternate and not the other alternate, that can happen as well. They're just in one resolution for now, but depending upon what's decided here tonight, we would revise that before the meeting next week. If you have additional questions or need clarification on anything, Director Babica is here to answer those for you.
To the Sunday waste collection, the price seems steep, but I have been beating my head against the wall and people complaining forever, and it's embarrassing. I don't know if there's a number I wouldn't approve to get that garbage picked up.
Okay, we're going to strike that from the record. Anybody else? Alderman Mayor.
I'm sorry, Alderperson Bowring was before.
I missed, I'm sorry. Alderman Bauer?
I just wanted to clarify, since they are in one resolution, and I thought I understood this, but then now I want to just make sure, Stephanie, the battery collection is not just through December. Does that also need reauthorization, or is that any time during the year based on the fee structure set up in the packet?
Let me look at what the resolution says. I think they were both for the same period.
Okay, is that intentional, that we then have to reauthorize the battery?
They're both for the same period, but if you wanted to authorize it through the contract period, or
Okay.
at least the first
So-
year, you can make a motion
Okay.
to amend the resolution, and we can fix that for the next meeting.
So then I move to amend the resolution to separate the battery disposal as through the contract period.
Yeah, and we don't have to separate it, we can just
Okay.
update the same resolution and
Gotcha.
just change the dates.
That's fine too.
And I guess I would clarify, if may I ask for a clarifying question?
Ask anything you want.
On her, I just don't want to run afoul of Robert's rules. Do you want it to be through the contract period, which is the 5 years, or do you want it to be just for a year?
I'm open to recommendations from
I
the
think that-
administrator or Public Works, but
I would say the contract period would be beneficial because it is a service that is used by the community. And
Then-
it's not a, not to say it's not a significant cost, but it's not a significant cost.
Sure.
I would agree with that.
I would too.
I've already experienced going into Public Works and not seeing the blue bin there, right? So, at first I thought that it was because you don't have to recycle batteries anymore. Is that true? Did you know? Anybody?
No, you
I
definitely
heard they
do.
could be,
You definitely do.
I heard that they could be, that was old
Is this a
batteries.
friendly amendment to the original amendment?
Yes, I would
original
consider it
motion?
a friendly amendment.
You made the original motion, so we're good.
Even better.
So we're clarifying the battery collection is through the balance of the contract?
Correct.
And overnight collection, I'm sorry, Sunday collection is just for certain months of the year?
The way it's currently presented would be for the end of this year, September through December, which takes us through the last city festival. And then we would look at, if it's the desire of the council coming back after the first of the year, to then approve something likely from April to December, because those are the months that we have found that the Sunday collection is most beneficial.
That's good.
That's agreeable to me. No? Nobody? Okay. Alderman Mayor?
Yeah, sorry. So I'm finished. We don't need a second or anything. If it's a friendly amendment, then we just move on?
Right, 'cause and you were
made
the
the
original,
motion.
you made the original motion.
So for the Sunday collection, the price does seem high to me. I was wondering, is it a breach of our contract to have somebody private collect to a dumpster, or is that a possibility that, Public Works collects the garbage and takes
Well, I
it to a
can tell you to
central
have Public
dumpster?
Works come in on a Sunday for 2 hours of overtime,
Same price?
you're not looking at saving much, and I think your workers' comp exposure goes up as well.
Okay.
So, I mean, I would say in looking at the contract, and Rich can speak to this as well, but if you looked at the contract, what they proposed for an annual Sunday collection, the increase for doing it month to month is understandable because they don't have the guarantee that it's every month that they would be doing it and to get the personnel to work on an extra day. That's not a normal workday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Alderperson Bruno on the fact that I get a lot of, we hear a lot about this, so I'm in support of doing the Sunday collection to stop the problems.
Okay. Alderman Kilburg.
Is there anything in the contractual arrangement as it relates to the pickup as to the time that this will be completed? In other words, if it's the end of the day on Sunday, it doesn't do us a lot of good.
The city code covers refuse collection is starting no earlier than 7 a.m. And then it's open at that point in time.
Well, fine. I'm just saying, though, could we incorporate into the contract that it needs to be picked up prior to 10 a.m. on that Sunday rather than, a garbage truck rolling through on 3rd Street at 2:30 in the afternoon when the streets are filled? I'm just saying, I would think it could be a point of negotiation.
I think I don't think that requires a motion or anything. I think I can just clarify that with the service provider is that our expectation is we want someone out there no earlier than 8 a.m. and to continue the project through, which could be anywhere from, if they start at 7, it could be as early as 11 or it could be as late as 12.
Yeah, at
Depending
least
what time they
the
start.
AM, I think it's imperative that they understand that. If they give the driver flexibility, I mean, if he comes at 6 in the afternoon, I don't think the complaints go away because the collection receptacles are going to be filled all day probably, especially if we've had a busy Saturday. So it's not that big of an issue, but if we're going to try to correct the concerns and the complaints, I think the earlier that it's picked up on Sunday, I think the better. I don't know if the rest of the council would agree, but I think it's something to look into. I mean, if it's open-ended, then they could be there at 8 a.m. one Sunday, and they could be there at 4:30 in the afternoon on another Sunday. Thank you.
Kind of picking up on what Alderman Kilburg is saying there, what about our special events calendar too? We wouldn't want them going down in the middle of Festival of the Vine. Has that been, or is that just a given that you can just work with them on that?
The contract already provides guidance and collection times for all the city's recognized special events.
Okay. Alderman Mayor, and then Alderman Bruno.
Yeah, they're not doing roll-off dumpsters, they're just tossing the garbage into the truck, right?
Correct.
From the bin. So, I mean, I would say it's also church time in the morning, so there's not like a perfect time to do garbage on Sundays, but hopefully you'll find something that works for everyone.
Alderman Bruno.
Just wanted to echo Alderperson Kilburg's concerns. If they're picking up late in the day, it doesn't really solve a problem. So if you can arrange or clarify that with the contractor, that'd be great. Thanks.
Alderman Bowery.
I just have a question that I apologize, I didn't think of this earlier to send in with my questions, but so the bulk of the funding for this is coming from the SSA, is that right? There's just a bit that is not coming from the SSA, and do we have an idea of where that funding can be allocated? And/or is there something that the SSA won't be able to fund that we were hoping it would be able to fund at this point? Just out of curiosity, I'm not against it.
I was tracking along. So the bulk of the funding comes from the SSA. What it's dependent upon is how much money is in the SSA, because the SSA is already supplemented by the general fund. And as you know, we'll be talking to the council later because that is also expiring. So that's why it's worded the way it's worded.
Any other questions for Director Alderman Ruby?
Sorry, thank you. I thought the packet said 2 35-gallon carts weekly, but here in the Q&A, it says monthly, so I just wanted to clarify which it was.
I thought 2 per week was a lot, but
And you're right,
what
2
do I
per
know?
week is in the summary, so I would,
Yeah, I was,
That was
'cause I
just a
was
typo.
floored.
Yeah, that's just-
Okay,
yeah.
when I saw that, I was like,
maybe at Christmas time,
yeah, okay.
maybe January 1.
All right, so still 70 gallons of dead batteries a month is a fair amount. I just wanted to plug for the community to try to use rechargeable batteries and cut down on some of this battery recycling. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you, Director Babica.
Thank you.
I think we're ready to vote. All in favor? And we are favoring as amended, as friendly amended, with battery collection through the remainder of the contract and Sunday collections through December at this point. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is it unanimous? All right, we are on letter H. Consider draft resolution adopting rules for electronic attendance at public meetings. So we got Maureen and Marks.
So Public Act 103-311 was effective July 28th, 2023, and it amended the Open Meetings Act to expand the permissible reasons for a member of the public body to attend a meeting by means other than physical presence to include unexpected child care obligations. In order to permit attendance by other means, the corporate authorities must adopt rules that conform to the requirements and restrictions of the Illinois Open Meetings Act. The corporate authorities previously adopted Resolution 2008-21 adopting such rules. The resolution for consideration this evening replaces Resolution 2008-21 to update the rules to include the added reason of child care obligations. And I'm happy to answer any additional questions.
Okay. Any questions? Can we add on if you go to a golf tournament during the day?
No.
Okay, just for the record. All right, no comment, housekeeping issue. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it is unanimous. And last on our regular agenda for tonight is consider draft ordinance amending Title I Administrative, Chapter 5 City Council, Section 3 Committees, and Section 5 Meeting Rules and Procedures of the Geneva City Code. Bowering? And Paschke.
Okay, so the ordinance under consideration, as stated, would amend Title I, Chapter 5, Section 3, and Section 5 of the Geneva City Code to better align with current practices. For example, the amendment adds language providing for an older person to chair a committee of the whole meeting and to vote on all matters before the committee of the whole. So that would eliminate that item number 3 that's on every committee of the whole agenda. In addition, other recommended deletions and additions to those sections are based upon actual practice, including changes to the Open Meetings Act that have occurred since the original code section was adopted in 1975. So, again, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those for you.
Any questions? No questions. All right, everybody indicate their approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you very much, that's unanimous. And here we are at public comment. I'm guessing we have none. Unless you want us to tell about the wastewater treatment plant? Yeah. All right. All right, so then we're on new business. Any new business from the committee? No new business. All right. Then we need a motion to go into closed session on the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, 5 ILCS 120/2C5, the setting of a price for the sale of lease of property owned by the public body, 5 ILCS 122C7, and pending litigation 5 ILCS 122C11. Moved by Alderperson Paschke. By Alderperson Mayor. Oh, sorry. And we will take a roll.
Okay, Paschke. Swanson.
Aye.
Bowring.
Aye.
Bruno.
Aye.
Ruby. Kilberg.
Aye.
Kasserag.
Aye.
Maladra.
Aye.
Marks.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
We will not be taking any action during this closed session tonight,
We come back.
or when we come back.
When we
Right.
come back.
Never take action. Thank you.